Hello and welcome to the University of Leeds. Today, as you're probably aware, is the 70th birthday of the NHS. So we thought we'd drop in at the School of Dentistry. I'm here with Dr. Andrew Keeling. He is an associate professor, he's a dentist as well, and he also looks after all of the kind of digital technology that we use here at Leeds to train up our dentists. So we're going to be talking a little bit about the equipment in this room. What do you call it, I guess, firstly?
We call them the Simodonts, although they say Moog on the top. That's the company. It's a Dutch company.
So we're here with the Simodonts, and this is where our trainee dentists come and practice, I guess, manipulating teeth and doing some of the things that they're going to do in practice later on in their degrees. Worth saying that we love to hear from you guys. If you want to say hello in the comments, if you've got any questions for a trained dentist. He's not as scary as some of the dentists I've had in the past, although he's not looked at my teeth yet. But yes, do say hello. If anyone's got any messages of kind of thanks or joy about the NHS, we'd love to hear those as well. It's kind of day of celebration and thanks, so do join in. So I guess to start us off, how are we kind of using digital technology to train undergrads?
So for training, I suppose the two main things we're trying to do at the moment are use the haptics, these simulators here, to give the students a lot more practical experience before they actually do their hands-on treatment on patients. The dentistry course is quite unique in that they do an awful lot of treatment on real live patients. We have a lot of people coming in, so during their undergraduate years they will be wet-fingered, as we call it, a lot. And so in order to get them up to that level, they need enough practice, and this is one of the tools that we use to give them time under their belt, really.
Yeah, so you don't just throw them straight in there and say,
no,
give it a go.
Yeah, you've read the book.
Yeah, you've had a few lectures.
Yeah.
How does this compare? I've heard of phantom heads. I've never seen one.
Oh, right.
But
I could show you
how does this compare to how we used to train dentists?
So, well, we still train them with the phantom heads. This is a traditional laboratory where there's lots of dummy heads with plastic teeth in, and the students sit in rows with dental handpieces, drills, and they practice drilling certain cavities and certain shapes. But there are some well-known drawbacks with that side of things that have been known for 50 years, but it's been kind of the best way that we can teach.
Yeah.
And these are being used as an adjunct to the phantom head to really try and fill in the gaps that the phantom heads don't really sort of meet. Yeah.
So how long have we been using these?
So we bought this system about 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago in Leeds. We're one of the first, first in the world actually to use them. We're the second biggest lab in Europe. And there's a couple in China that are about the same size as us. The only bigger sort of teaching classroom is in Amsterdam, which is where the machines were developed by Moog.
Excellent. Well, if you're just joining us, we're here. It's the 70th anniversary and birthday of the NHS today. The university has a very close partnership with the NHS. We're here in the Worsley building today in the School of Dentistry. Right next door to us is Leeds General Infirmary, so we work very closely with the Leeds teaching hospitals, and as we're kind of talking about now, the dentists that we train here at the university go straight into practice, most of them, don't they? Yeah,
they go into a sixth year. It's a 5-year course, and then they go into a 6th year in general practice, which is an NHS practice. Usually a sort of quite a good NHS practice where the trainers are quite experienced. They've passed a few more extra exams, and the students sort of do their first year in the real world, if you like, but under the wings of someone else. And that's all on the NHS.
Yeah, excellent. Well, we're proud to be such a close partner with them. Obviously, we train up hundreds of doctors every year as well, and similarly with nurses. All of whom go out into St James's Hospital, Chapel Allerton Hospital, LGI just next to us, and even in this building we kind of share it with the NHS. If you don't know the history of the university, actually the university was first a Leeds medical school, and that was I think 1831, the School of Medicine was there, and the university has almost grown out of that. Thank you very much for those commenting. We'd love to hear from you guys. Teresa gives us a big thumbs up, so I'm sure she's a big fan of the NHS there. And Jodie, a couple of hashtags, NHS 70, that's the one. So if you are tweeting or putting any posts today, it's hashtag NHS 70 and hashtag just thank you. So thank you very much for that. We can all be kind of extremely grateful for the NHS and what it does to look after all of us in the country. So yeah, it's a good day to celebrate that. Let's now talk. So we've got Ahmed is a PhD researcher here at Leeds. He's in his second year. We're going to have a little chat to him after he's been using this equipment. But we're now going to, you can hear, we're now going to load up this technology and kind of get a look at what it looks like in action. Can you talk us through what he's up to?
So the point of this, the reason it's called haptic, is it feels like you're actually drilling teeth, enamel, decay, crowns, whatever it might be, root canals. And so it actually feels physically like you're touching solid surfaces. Although you're only really holding a sort of a pen in midair, the feedback gives us that kind of sensation.
Yeah.
And that's the real key for us. So obviously it's three-dimensional, so when Ahmed is looking down through that little black screen in 3 dimensions, and there's some evidence to show that that's better than 2 dimensions when you're training. Yeah. And having this tactile feedback is very, very important for
it's kind of vibrating.
Exactly. If you tapped the top of a tooth, it would tap, it would feel. So it's quite bizarre. Yeah. And you have to kind of do it to really appreciate it, I suppose. Yeah. So usually people come in here for the first time and they've looked at this sort of handpiece underneath and they've seen that it's just floating around, and then they look through the screen and tap a solid lump of tooth. That feels real. Yeah. And then of course you press the foot pedal, which is what we use to fire up the handpiece. Yeah. And then it starts to cut, but it feels like you're cutting the different types of materials that you'll be doing in dentistry. So we use it for multiple things, from basic manual dexterity, so trying to either improve people's manual dexterity, because most people with enough practice can get quite good. It's like riding a bike. You might have taken a little bit longer than your friend to learn, but most people manage it in the end. Yeah. And it's the same with dentistry, so it's good for giving the students enough time to practice, because they can come into this room evenings and weekends, whenever they like. There doesn't need to be an expensive member of staff here. Yeah. So they get the extra hours under their belt early, which means when they treat the patients, they've already got some fine dexterity. Yeah.
So what exactly are you kind of able to do with this? What's the upshot at the moment?
So he's at the moment, it looks like he's having a go at doing a crown prep. So crown preparation, so crowns or caps, dental caps, are something that we sometimes have to sort of shape the tooth into sort of like a thimble shape, and then we'll make something out of metal or porcelain that gets glued over the top. So this usually happens if you've had, a bit more decay or maybe some trauma to your teeth, and then we might need to try and do something a little bit larger, like a crown. Earlier on in the dentistry staircase, if you like, it is just simple tooth decay. And we can simulate that in here, so tooth decay feels a little bit different, and we need the students to learn how that's going to feel when they're drilling it.
Yeah, it's sort of bringing back memories of dentist visits, and I'm kind of feeling my teeth as you're talking.
Try teaching a class with 25 of them running.
Yeah, it must get a bit noisy.
Or going downstairs to the clinic it's a big open clinic with 40 chairs.
We've got another comment here on Facebook. Keep them coming in. Zena says, "Thank you for this live feed, reminiscent of my university days." So that might be someone that you've even seen and taught in here. Yeah. Do let us know if you've ever been in this very room. We'd love to hear that. And if you trained at the university at any time, do say hello and let us know what you did and what you're doing now. Levi's asking, do undergrads get to use this equipment?
Yeah, absolutely. It's primarily for undergrads, right, although we're putting together some advanced root canal type of courses for postgrads. But yeah, undergrads, our first years use it heavily. They learn how to remove decay safely in this environment. They learn a little bit about root canal treatment, and they learn a little bit about crowns before they've even left the first year, which is quite unique at Leeds actually, because these skills are usually left for 2 or 3 years before you'd start to think about crowns or root canals. So we put our students straight in at learning these basic skills, and then we amplify them throughout the course.
And presumably that leads to better dentists if they can get to do that sort of thing earlier on.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the hope, really. You asked about the traditional methods, and our traditional methods are next door in the room next door in the laboratory, the Phantom Head Lab. And we buy plastic teeth, and they practice drilling shapes in them. But the reality is those plastic teeth, they feel like plastic, and they're all one density. If you have decay in a tooth, it feels a bit softer in the middle, but it can feel a little bit hard around the outside. And we need our students, dentists need to be able to kind of work out where the decay is by feel, and plastic teeth don't do that. So what we're doing in this room is trying to fill that gap in their kind of pre-clinical education, so that the first time they're treating a real patient, maybe in the end of the second year, beginning of the third year down on our real clinic, they're used to this, and they're not going to overdo it or underdo it.
I see. If you're just joining us, we're live here in the Dental Institute here at the University of Leeds. It's the 70th birthday of the NHS, so we're here chatting about the dentists of the future and taking a look at exactly how they're being trained and what they're getting to use as part of their training. As a sort of a final question, sort of looking back, couldn't we look back 70 years? What do you think dentists were doing in their training, if they had any at all, 70 years ago?
Yeah, we did. In fact, at Leeds, it's been around. We've been around for more than 100 years.
Wow.
I mean, dentistry was very different. You go to the Beamish Museum and see what it all used to look like. We used to have one strong leg because we'd have to pump a handpiece that had the drill was on a sort of treadle, so it had a pulley, and you would pump it and it would just turn a little bit. But the drills didn't turn very fast, so they were very grumbly, and it was very difficult to cut teeth with. So really, 70 years ago, it was very much about false teeth, taking teeth out and making false teeth. And that dentistry over the last sort of 70 years has really grown from that kind of quite sort of basic agricultural type of dentistry into, in our laboratories next door, we can mill teeth in the same day that the patient comes in, by scanning them digitally and 3D printing them and so on. So that's really where it's moving.
So it's changing a great deal, and I guess partly thanks to the NHS and other kind of, sort of health campaigns, people are no doubt looking after their teeth better than they probably were 70 years ago.
Yeah, there's certainly some improvements. There's still, unfortunately, areas of need, and the NHS is kind of, the mainstay of picking that up. Often disease tends to be focused in dentistry in the lower socio-economic groups. So from that perspective, they're the people who are going to be going to the NHS dental practices, or coming for dental treatment here. I mean, obviously, all of our treatment here in the clinics is delivered under the NHS as well. So we get patients referred in that maybe need something a little bit more advanced. And all of that treatment in the NHS ethos is free at the point of delivery for the patients, as is all the treatment that they receive from the undergraduate clinics. So if they needed more normal kind of dental treatment, they can still come in and have it done under the supervision of a member of staff, but by a dental undergraduate, all for no cost.
Excellent. We've got another couple of people getting a few more thumbs up from Sharon and Jelko. And so Jessica is asking, which building is that in? So it's the Worsley building at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, so Worsley on Clarendon Way.
And what else is kind of in here for people that have never been?
Well, so we're basically medical. So we've got down on the level below us, we've got a huge set of open clinics. This is for the dentistry clinics. So that's if you've been referred in to have a bit of surgery, maybe to take a wisdom tooth out or something, that's done downstairs. or if you've been referred in for any other kind of dental treatment, that will be done in one of the departments downstairs,
Yeah.
braces, orthodontics, children's department, so we've
Yeah.
got kind of kids department, and the adult dental health care, which is quite a large section of it.
Yeah.
And then this building goes up and down for about, I forget, 11 stories or something, and there's various other sort of teams, HR, some research teams, some support, all the way up.
Excellent. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I think Ahmed's had enough of enough practice drilling teeth for one day, so I think we're going to have a chat with him. But thank you very much for chatting to me, and really interesting stuff that's going on here. So thanks very much for sharing this today.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. So if you are just joining us, it's the 70th birthday of the NHS. We're here in one of the teaching spaces at the university where our dentistry undergraduates can come and play with these kind of haptics technology where it actually feels like you're drilling or manipulating someone's teeth. So we've just watched Ahmed using this technology. Can you kind of, for those people watching and for myself, can you kind of describe what that was like for you?
Okay, so the MOOC dental simulator in the University of Leeds helped the dental student to initially practice drilling and gain those skills before they go to the clinical years.
Yeah.
So once they start their first year, they start having simple tasks to assist their manual dexterity and to develop those skills.
Yeah, brilliant. And you're a PhD researcher,
Yeah.
but you're also a dentist as well, aren't you? So how kind of, with your own experience of treating patients, how similar, how realistic is this?
Okay, it's quite similar, and it's filled the gap that we had before when we train on the plastic teeth, because it gives us the availability of different density that we can drill.
Yeah.
So we can at least mimic the natural teeth, so we can have different level of density,
Yeah.
hard, soft, and caries level. So
I see. So, and that's within, so some people's teeth are different densities.
yeah, so teeth in general have different level of density, starting from the outer layer, which is the enamel, and then dentine and the pulp surface.
Yeah.
And also the caries have different level of density depending on how much decay is there in the tooth.
Yeah, so as you get older, it's going to presumably...
Well, it's how much of the fluoride gain in the tooth. So more fluoride means that your teeth is from outside stronger. So
Yeah.
once you lose those minerals from the tooth, it's going to be like softer and softer.
Yeah. Interesting. So, and I think you trained in part down in London, and can you tell us about what was that like, and what kind of training up in an NHS environment?
So I did my specialty training in London in pediatric dentistry.
Okay.
So we were treating children under the NHS hospitals, and at the same time providing them with the best possible treatment. And
presumably, is that, I imagine there is still a stigma that, especially for small children as well.
Yeah.
Do they come in and straight away they're scared? How do you overcome that?
Well, they are brave enough to come at least.
Yeah.
So we do like a behavior management for them, trying to introduce them to the clinic and let them try the instrument, give them some of the instrument.
So you've got a whole system in place to try and coax them into a dentist and keep them happy and smiling as long as possible. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know. So yeah, it's not just a scary thing, and I presume it's something that you're all very aware of and always trying to do your best to avoid any sort of fear. Anyone watching and with any questions, do pop them in the comments. It's been great. Thank you all for watching. Do share the video, and if you've got any other sort of NHS stories you'd like to share, we'd be very pleased to hear those. Just going to finish with a final question, which is, why do you think, so you're doing research looking at kind of the use of the technology and things, why is it important that we do research on kind of current practice?
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the research I'm doing. So the research I'm doing is filling the gap on developing the best practice model for the dental student to acquire their skill and try to generalize the skill that they learn in the lab, in the clinic, to practice safely in the patients.
Yeah.
So so as Dr. Andrews says, that the Phantom Lab give us one level of density that doesn't match what we have in the clinical practice.
Yeah.
And by developing tasks that help students to understand different level of density, will aid them to practice safely in the clinic.
Yeah, that's great. So hopefully the research that's going on here will impact the dentistry work that's going on, make sure it's as safe as possible, make sure it's providing the high level of care that is needed. Someone here, another Ahmed, said, Uni of Leeds will always be a centre of excellence. Thank you very much for that one. It wasn't you, because I haven't seen you, but conveniently named commenter there. Thank you very much for that. And yeah, just finally, if anyone out there is thinking about Leeds as somewhere to come and study or research, what would you kind of say to those people?
Yeah, I think Leeds is one of the leading universities, especially in dentistry, to come and study in. Really, I'm happy to do my PhD here. It's a pleasure to have that. And yeah, anyone want to come, welcome to Leeds.
Great. Well, and yeah, this is here for you, whether it's undergraduate or whether you want to come and do research. We've got some pretty phenomenal and unique technology here for you. So thank you all very much for watching. Please do join in the celebrations of the 70th birthday of the NHS today, across social media and obviously with friends and family and things like that. Thank you, Ahmed, for showing it, demonstrating the technology and for talking to me. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you again soon.